Testing. Hello. Alright. We are going to begin another, hopefully good long programming stream today. I have a whole set of stuff I want to get done. I don't know if I'm gonna... So we have a snowstorm outside, and I'm 99% sure I'm gonna need to go out in like 2-3 hours and shovel again, or you won't be able to use the road, so might have to stop for that. I also gotta make an appointment. I gotta do that before an office closes, which is like a few hours, so yeah, I want to do a long stream, but I might not be able to. Hopefully what I'll be able to do is just come back in like 30 minutes and start right back up. Anyways, let's get started. So, okay, I did some stuff off stream for this engine. Also, 1 second. Raise that a little bit because I'm not sitting back there anymore. Okay, so first of all, I added a whole bunch more documentation to this README. I made sure there's all the files I currently have here. Case said who. Got the GUI, physics 2D. I added way more general question stuff, so what happens if you get an error, like one of the common errors you'll get is if you have the editor, the visual editor loaded up, it tries to load a font from a specific directory, and it tells you how you either need to change the font path, or if you want to export the editor in your game, provide your own font. It talks about the color system, how it's not like Unity where you pick sRGB, not like other engines where you pick sRGB or linear. Images are just loaded in with no gamma changes. If you want gamma changes, you can apply them in your own shader code. But by default, the shaders actually won't apply gamma changes because, one, that's fastest, especially for forward rendering, and two, when you're doing like BRDFs where you have a light function that's simulating, you can actually apply the gamma in that and it looks basically good enough. And yeah, it says this is optimal multi-threading safety, explains how the engine runs 3 main threads, the main app logic, rendering, audio. It says what you can do safely. And then it also tells you, though, that because it's C, there is no safety checks. You can access data from any thread, which is unlike Unity, where it'll actually block you and tell you you can't access this from this thread. Or in C# it generally does that, but it is subject to race conditions and may be unsafe. Unicode support, unlikely, because there's some stuff in C as well, like string length just returns number of bytes, which isn't the actual string length when you have Unicode, and it just doesn't, not an easy thing. List of define options. So I have there's a bunch of option defines, preprocessor defines that do options, like enable the built-in editor, console only, no window, so I just added this here to document them all. There's one that I added that this is what I'm going to start working on, encrypting assets. If you don't want to have a specific library like libpng or bitmap or asset importer, you can use these to exclude them. So that's like if you really care about your executable size, or what I say down here is libpng has a security vulnerability that could be used as a potential attack vector, so if like you want to disable PNG for that. And there's options like the max stack allocation by function, so that you can limit stack overflows and stuff like that at the cost of speed. I'm actually looking at this. I can lower this to like 1024 and it really will be fine. I see stuff like how to enable GPU by default on some laptops, just like a bunch of stuff that and then I started working on this the first of the actual engine examples in the engine underscore GUI. I've decided that all of the examples that have the base engine in it, and like all the asset system and all that, and the component system, I'm going to label them with engine underscore so that, you know, it's like a bit more advanced. Anyways, this right here is just starting with an insanely simple GUI. Click here to drag / scroll, and then my idea is I might do like this is a text field where you can type in text, and then I might do a button that's like click me, and then the button might like run away from you. When you click it, it like goes to a different place, and then there might be like a quit button. So I think that's a good example for the GUI. And then I've actually labeled some stuff I never labeled before. Okay, but then what I figured out the other day when this is actually something I might not get done today. I have to see. So the way this asset system works uses this file stream, but then in the actual assets, like if you look at my audio assets here, I pass in a file handle. So basically, like, I built this whole asset system expecting that it would only be passing it in from a file or loading from a file. Where is it? Right here, you can see file handle. So when it loads the asset, it stores the file handle where it would store the pointer to the asset. So basically, I need to rework. So the issue, here's the whole thing. Now that I want to do asset encryption, the way to do this would be doing all of this through the stream class that I have, like how I have this file stream right here. I'm already using a file stream. I can just pass in the pointer to the file stream and then do everything through this stream class here. And then this stream class is like, it's equivalent of SDL's RW ops. Here I have the documentation for this up. SDL RW ops. So this basically has callbacks for read, write, close on the stream. This is the same thing. So if I build the asset system to use this, first of all, SDL, I can basically make a one-to-one mapping of the stream, this stream class, to the SDL read-write ops. So right away, that'll automatically work with any of these WAV loading or anything here where I'm already having to do read-write from them, the read-write ops. And then like, I'm also loading fonts using SDL, and then Asset Importer has basically the exact same API. This is what basically all the C libraries do when you need custom stream operations, is you provide seek, read, write, size callbacks. So I basically at some point, maybe today, need to go through and rewrite all this to go through stream handle instead, and then it'll be a bit more coding now, but it'll make everything more easier, because this will just turn into I'm gonna have some header that has a custom stream that maps to the SDL one. And then for the encryption, once you're using this stream abstract stream class where everything is just a read-write function, you can create an encrypted stream where the read and write functions go through, and basically as you read, it goes through and does a simple encryption, and as you write, it does a simple encryption. So that'll be huge. We have more examples of the engine. These are all the examples right now, right here. And these ones, like right here, aren't working. These three. And this one these two might not be working either. But right now I have like 10 plus examples, like 15 actually examples. That's a lot. Can you run them, please? No, because then I have to open up the visual. If this was Linux, I could run them, because then it would just be me opening a command prompt. For this, I have to open Visual Studio, and then I have to build it, and it's like, no, I'm just building the one I already have open, the GUI one. But I can call basically all of the other engine code, because I can just include a header and do anything right here. The README notes some issues, but also be aware there's a giant number of potentially unknown issues or bugs. Use this code and software at your own risk. I hope people read that. They aren't going to, though. I know they aren't. Yeah, so what I'm going to want to do actually probably to test this is I'm going to want, I'm going to need to override this. Hash Encrypted Assets. Yeah, so I'm going to need to change this to go through a stream, and then I can do encrypted. And then I already have all my object serialization here going through the stream API. So this can already work. This is already set to be encrypted. I just create an encrypted stream. And then the most powerful form of XOR encryption, XOR encryption, is when you do it by a random value. So I'm basically just going to hash the current value, or sorry, current position in the stream, basically use it like a seed, and then mix that with another salt or something, and basically get random XOR encryption, which is really strong. It's not like insanely strong, like people can crack it super easily, but like for real-time encryption where it's just loading everything in and out, it's secure, but it's also fast. And because, so the whole thing, the way you break XOR encryption is either through frequency analysis or basically both ways, the frequency analysis and known plain text. You have to know an already existing thing. So for example, in World War II, they would constantly send out telegrams and things where at the end they would go, "Hail Hitler." And that is actually a giant weakness, because then they had whenever the Brits or whoever were searching to try and decrypt these texts or messages, they knew that there would be this phrase in there that basically, if all they then had to do was try different keys until they found this phrase, because they knew there would be this phrase. So like with this, if they knew some area was, for example, all 0 bits, then they could go and try the encryption code until that was all 0 bits, and then they would go, oh, that's it. But then if you make the key constantly changing, like it's a basically random Markov chain, which is what a proper random number generator is, then it's like completely, even if you get the one part, the rest of it is completely encrypted. You need to, it's way harder. But yeah, man, that, I gotta be honest, I thought about that for a long time and really waited. Like, I realized I would have to actually rewrite a bunch of stuff like this PNG helper that currently goes through file pointer right now. So that is actually really stupid programming of me, because if you compare it to going through that stream abstract class, this is like you can only output to files, but if I did it through the stream, you could output to memory, you could output to files, you could output through the standard output, the console, you could output through sockets. I have a network stream if you look at, I don't actually like talk about this anywhere in the engine, but if you look at the bottom of the end socket, there's an end socket stream that basically implements the read and write for the socket on in the stream. Oh, I just butchered that, but you get what I mean. So it's like this stream class is super powerful. But anyways, I don't even have an example right now that's loading in a bunch of assets or using these asset packages. So I can't even test that right now. Like right here in this GUI example, I'm loading in a font just from a file. So the asset packages that would be encrypted are different. This load managed just loads in a file, and it uses the asset loading system to like automatically load in whatever the extension is, but the actual asset database system is like an asset, like just like that. It's an asset database system. Each file, asset file, is a whole bunch of other asset files inside it that are either encrypted or not encrypted, and it has a hash map so that you can just quickly look up which one you want to load, and then it also handles loading them in or out. It's like a whole system, but this doesn't do any of that. It just loads one from a file. So interesting thing is, if you use encrypted assets, it would actually break loading these things from a file because it only can load one way. Wait, actually, holy shit, no, it wouldn't. This is why, so right now, I'm talking about this stuff also just to like work it out. Like, I am not even 100% sure how this is functioning yet. I'm kind of going through it as I talk about it. There's little things like that that I haven't filled in yet. But yeah, I'm just gonna work on this GUI example because I'm gonna need to do it anyways. And then I'm thinking I'm gonna make a Pong example. That's where I might use the asset packages. We'll see. Either way, I went in and I changed some code in the engine that I'm pretty sure isn't gonna compile right here. So we're gonna see. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so I made a kind of major change to the engine. It's not really major, but the reason why I changed it was because it wasn't really major. I had in each component, there's callbacks here. Free, enable, disable. Free is called when the component memory is freed. Enable is called when the component's enabled, disabled. It's kind of self-explanatory. Updates called each frame when the component updates. Transform updates called when the object's transform is changed. There's one extra one called editor render that happens in the editor. So basically, if you want to like do a little outline or overlay in the editor for a component, that's what you would do in editor render. But what I did is I used to have a render one as well as update. Except I found out that you never used it because so basically the way you do this is you have these render calls right here. Okay, so this is so complicated. So these update calls aren't ordered at all. They don't go in any specific order. Same with the render calls. So that is kind of an issue. That means like your GUI. So this is a fucked up thing about this engine. I'm going to be completely real here. This is an issue. Like, a bunch of people are probably going to rage quit the engine over this. Let's say you want a GUI that goes over your 3D rendering. You need to make the GUI. Well, okay. So this is oh man, I don't know how to. This is like. So this is a list of render calls. It goes through and executes them each one by one. The issue is it adds them as you enable the components. So if you imagine you've got your GUI component that does the GUI, but then you've got your camera or 3D renderer component. So the rendering goes GUI, then 3D rendering. And it doesn't composite them, it just goes, puts the 3D rendering straight over the GUI. So then you have to worry about going, oh, I need to keep the GUI's render call below the 3D rendering render call. But then if you enable and disable the 3D rendering render call, it then goes back below the GUI. It's like, it's an actual, yeah, it's pretty messed up. But the whole thing is, this is fast. If you added ordering to this, like some Z ordering, then it would be... So that's one of the things I've actually thought about doing is, so the reason why I had that originally was because it just did these unordered render callbacks up here. But if now I'm dealing with this manually, then I should probably have a way of sorting them. Like, for example, I could put a thing that says where in the render calls it should place the GUI. Either way, I'm just going to fix this code right now. I need to change it so that it doesn't use the render callback anymore. Right here, instead, on enable, we add to the render calls. So right here, I'm just actually making sure I removed all references to the component render callbacks, right? Yeah. Alright, so this is how you do object-oriented and polymorphism in C. You've got your initialize function. It's basically like new. It initializes, or it's basically like your constructor. It initializes all of the values to their defaults. So then any functions you want to override, like virtual functions, are just pointers to functions right here. Enable and disable. So then, let's have that list, add, oh wait, actually, I have a macro function for this. GUI render, this list add. So this thing I have called iFunction is a function pointer along with a pointer to an object. Go along with it. This macro just helps create it and then calls another function where you use that iFunction. Kind of complicated, but it works very well once you get to use it. So here's the other interesting thing. Actually, it wouldn't be that much more efficient, but if you had a fixed render ID or spot in the rendering queue, then this would actually be way quicker than slist remove. Actually, wait a minute. I forgot, this is a synchronized multi-threaded list. I don't even think you can access things by index. No, yeah, you can insert at specific indexes, but you can't set specific indexes because it's multi-threaded. And basically the way it works is you have locking, where while a thread is iterating through it, any operations go to another buffer. So you can still iterate through the list while changing it from another thread. Alright, so that hopefully works now. Yep, there we go. I'm just thinking about this. What happens to the list insert if it's way higher? Yeah, so I think this list insert on the multi-threaded list, I don't think I thought about this before I added it. It's unstable, I'm 99% sure. Yeah, so if you this expects that you're checking if the index is above, I can actually fix this right now. This expects that you already know the index is within the length of the list, which I am not checking here, which I am going to check now. You can see here I at least check if this index of fails. I do check. Yeah, I do. List, remove. Where is this function? Am I blind? Remove at, remove range fast, remove at fast. Oh, right here. How does remove fast work again? Oh yes, so instead of moving everything down the list when you remove an element, move fast just swaps the last element and that element there. So it fucks up the order of everything. Okay. Oh, yeah. So this does have error checking. So what I need to do right here for error checking is, this is my index right here. And before I do this, I check, is the index actually smaller than the list length? If it is, then this insert is fine. If it isn't, then yeah, all right. Okay. Now I'm gonna add a GUI text field. Actually, what should I do? Oh man, I feel like if this is an example, I should actually make it something that is useful. I honestly can't think of anything other than like some stupid buttons in a text field. There's no, I don't want to, like, any actual GUI app I can think of, like a calculator or something, is actually pretty complicated. So I don't know. Add button example. So every GUI component in this GUI system can actually be a button, because each of them are interactable. All you need to do is enable this interactable boolean and set, there's an on-click and on-hover callbacks. So I think we're just gonna set, yeah, we're gonna do hover and we're gonna do a hover callback as well. Just because I guess that's actually a good example of a GUI. Having the button change color. And hold on, I don't think it just... Where is it? Oh, here we go. Hover, enter, hover, leave, drag, click. I forgot that it's hover, enter, and hover, leave. I don't know what color I want the button to be. Oh yeah. And I need to set a scale. That should be good. I think the default color is white. Let's see. VAC undeclared identifier. Oh, oops. Yep, default color is white. Yeah, I guess I'll just do white button with black background. Because I'm lazy. So we'll do the hovering now. So make this black on hover. And then go back to white. It's not hovered. Oh, it's not working. I might have forgotten how this works. Hover, enter. Interactable. Oh my god, I know what it is. This doesn't update by default. You have to do update transform, or actually, where is it? Update. There we go. GUI component update blip main. So update blip main updates the color in the GUI component. So you can either update the transform here, just the easiest way of doing this. Oh, yeah, wait, you have to do this on the object. So yeah, actually this is a good time to show people what the most efficient way is. Just calling GUI component transform update directly. And then it doesn't do all the extra operations in the update transform and it isn't needed. There we go. Alright, now we're going to add text to it that says something like click me. Make this text in the background a little bit smaller as well. Back here to drag/scroll. Now we're gonna create another GUI text component to add a label.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me, yeah. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me, yeah.
There we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is when you click it, the button's going to actually move. It's going to be one of those things where it runs away from you. So then button, click. Get the object from it like this. Actually, I think it's base.object like that. And yeah, I guess maybe I'll use RNG. Yeah. I kind of want to do a pseudo-random way of doing this, where it's not actually completely random. Anyways, once we do move it, we do update transform. Actually, wait, can I just do the absolutes? Oh, yeah, okay. So I actually have two ways. I've provided some extra functions here. So the update transform calls all of the transform update callbacks and updates the children. But if, for example, you just want, for example, I ran into this when I was trying to do the mesh transformation before. If you just want to update If you want to update, for example, a parent's transform without updating all of its children, you can do this update absolute transform. So like the thing with the mesh animation is it calculated everything going down the hierarchy. It would calculate the parent's position and then the child's position. And it would calculate it absolutely. So the issue with this is what was happening here is it was running the parent transform, then it was calculating all of the child's transforms, then in the mesh animation system calculating all those child's transforms again, and then going and doing like their child's transforms. So in this, you just update the absolute. It's like there's a whole bunch of little optimization stuff in here that's I don't think you can really understand this stuff unless you go in and look at the code. Yeah, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a pseudo-random position. So we don't need the asset database here. And everything gets cleaned up on its own. Alright, so let's do signf. We're going to get the time as a float. So current time is 64-bit integer of the time. We're going to repeat that every 100 seconds like this. Yeah, that's good. And then we'll do divided by 1,000. So then we're going to calculate the positions here by just doing super chaotic circle. I can't remember what this is called. I also gotta go through and comment this stuff a bit better, I think. Well, I should comment these parts. Button event callbacks. Color button black on hover. Triggers component color to update. Button white. Exit hover. Randomly move button when clicked. Oh yes, this is actually good. Ooh, what's that? There's a little bit of a line there. This is actually good. This might be catching some issues with like the GUI rendering that I normally wouldn't have caught. So it looks like that character is a bit cut off. Interesting. That is very interesting. Okay. Go in and try and fix this. So the font are loaded here. New font. And I should actually move this maybe to a separate file. Oh yeah, so I'm doing DPI conversion here. I forgot about that. Oh no, still has the issues. And it's already a power of 2 anyways, because the font size is 32. Okay, let's calculate this. 32 times 72 divided by 100 gives you 23, size 23 font. Try just doing the max font size itself, screw it. So that's better, but at the same time worse. You can almost see that actually the font is a bit sharper. Oh, that's so interesting. The G is cut off there, even though it's showing... That's completely messed up. Wait, look at that. Wait. Oh my god, is SDL TTF have issues? Let me actually look this up. SDL. I might just end up using the free type font library itself. I'm trying to read the glyphs. A bug in SDL TTF. Yeah, shit. Could be. Open font. Point size based on 72 DPI. Translates to pixel height. I'm curious about why it only shows up at specific things. I wonder if that's it's probably something to do with the linear sampling. I hate font issues. And it's so weird about how the issue is just with the exclamation mark there. Like, What I'm doing is I get the glyph metrics from here, which are the glyph bounds. The size. I think the size might be wrong. What's wrong here? The height -1. Oh, okay, so actually I'm doing height -1. What might be proper is doing width -1 here as well. Basically subtracting 1 pixel from size. That might have been because I had very similar issues with the vertical. Same thing happening on the vertical. Oh my god, it looks like that fixed it. It's hilarious. Just such a little thing, just not subtracting 1 pixel. Alright, this is why I do this GUI test though. Like, this is why this is good, is because you end up finding stuff like this. Alright. So looking at this as well, when I was talking about rewriting some of the asset loading, I should put this in a file called font helper, just like how I have PNG helper or TTF helper or whatever. And then I can do all this, instead of passing in a memory structure, I can pass in a stream, and then that'll support all the encrypted asset stuff. This is part of why writing the examples is also so good, just making me go over things and double check them. Alright, now I'm going to do a text field. Just for the sake of doing a text field. So the GUI actually has Z depth testing, so if you don't make the Z of one object smaller than the other, it'll get overwritten by another. So our background is at 0Z, so then we do -1.1, so it's closer. And then actually here, I can do -0.2 so that the text field always stays above the button. So then this GUI text field inherits from the GUI text. So the base is a GUI text object where we assign this exact same stuff of font size, anchor, make actually just make sure about this. There's also some stuff I want to test that I think I've currently broken in this GUI text field. Where is it? Update cursor. So there's supposed to be a blinking cursor on the text field, but I believe I currently broke it. I honestly can't remember the state of it, but we'll see. Anyways, we've got limit, which is the number of characters. By default it's 0, which is unlimited. The selection, whether or not it's multi-line, by default is false. But yeah, all of it is actually good options. So now we're just going to set all the inherited GUI.text options. To do this most effectively and most concisely, I personally would actually write a macro that then assigns all of this font size, font anchor to all of these ones over and over again, so I'm not rewriting the same code over and over again. But this is an example, so I'm kind of writing it out on purpose. So I'm just looking, it's actually easier for these right here to set the whole position in one. I think it looks nicer as well. Alright, so I just need to make sure the default scale of objects is 1, which the GUI goes from -1 to 1, so 1 is actually, by default, the objects completely fill the screen, so we need to set the text field size to 0.5, 0.1. Oh, GUI text field undeclared identifier. Oh, it's GUI text field no underscore. I have forgotten my own engine. There we go. Oh yeah, okay. So it's got a cursor, but it doesn't blink. Oh yeah, and there's definitely some stuff I can do to fix this. You can see it's not... Oh wait, it's not completely aligned on purpose. But this is definitely messed up, this selection. So this is good. This is what I'm supposed to be testing right now. Stuff like this. So see, the selection is just off. It works. I know I got this all working. It's just, I think I changed how the mouse system works. I'm also wondering why it's not, right here, why it's not starting completely to the left here. You can kind of see here though as well. I'll have to figure that out. It is working mostly properly. I think also if I increase this a little bit to like 40, it should actually align better. I think most of the issue is just my text yeah, the text wasn't properly sized for the text field. But it still doesn't make sense why it's stopping the text early here. I feel like part of this is not taking in, since it's on the x-axis, I think it's not taking into account the aspect ratio. Oh, and I think it also should highlight, I think it should be highlighting these spaces or blank areas. I gotta be honest, this stuff isn't absolutely necessary for a game engine. Like, I'm thinking about a bunch of games I've played that haven't had functioning text selects, cough cough, Valve engine games for a very long time. But it's definitely something that, like, I know it's almost working. I'm gonna go into the code and probably try and fix this. It's stuff like this, though, that scares me. I dive into this stuff, and I have no idea if this is like something fundamentally wrong with how I've built this text field system. Oh, this is actually good. There's a bunch of stuff that's still using mutexes here that I have to overwrite anyways, because now I've started shifting the engine to use spin locks. Yeah, hold on a second. Text input lock. Oh yeah, this is completely oh my god. Is it treating this text input lock like a mutex all over? I wonder if this is like causing some memory overwrites or something. This synchronized begin is a mutex, but text input lock isn't a mutex. Atomic swap is what I'm using now. A good example is actually in the S list right here, while atomic swap just spin locks here. Alright, I'm gonna go get some water. My throat is fucking killing me. I will be right back in a few minutes. Man, you would not believe how talking without drinking anything would kill your throat until you do it. cannot hear me, only music. Good call. I completely forgot about that. So this is select all. This is the one thing that's functioning. So the first thing we're going to try is right here, when you click to select. I think I'm not going to do a blinking cursor for now, but right now when you click to select, you can see this isn't aligned. So the first thing I need to do here is get this click to select aligning. And then, yeah, whatever it is that's offsetting it here when it goes off screen. Yeah, I literally have an offset variable here, so this is where it's offsetting it incorrectly. Right here. Alright, so I'm gonna have a good amount of code to rewrite here and test. This is good though, this will be a good GUI example. And you can see here though, it does the depth testing correctly. The text field is above the button. So the depth testing is all working. You can drag it all around. Actually, I think this is a pretty good GUI example. Oh wait, does this follow the screen? Oh shit! This runs away. That's kind of funny. I'm gonna leave that. It's broken, but it's kind of cool. It kind of makes its own game of chasing. Oh, the other thing I'm looking at is this selection here. I think this is actually in the GUI text component that this is done. I remember how this works actually. It you look at selected, wherever it checks, so you can see if it's selected here, it sets the source position to -1, where it stores a completely blank object. So it basically replaces whatever object there, or whatever one there is, with a black thing here. But what it also should do, I'm not sure if it's the scale or which one, but it should resize it as well. So that's the issue, is I can't replace C here. So basically, it moves along the next character based off these character sizes. So I can't just change them all to complete blocks by changing like C the character to an empty block, because then it'll change the whole size of the text. What I need to do is I need to change them to blocks, just like how it does like ternary operator here. I'm actually going to remove this check here and put it all into an if statement. So this is basically checking if it's selected. So this is the normal. This is... Alright, okay, wait. So this is the selected, this is the normal characters. If you're working on the GUI more, yeah, I'm fixing an issue with the text selection. How it doesn't do a full black Yeah, there's a bunch of issues here. First of all, the selection doesn't match up, which I'm gonna fix later. Like where you click with the mouse isn't where the cursor appears. But then when it does select, it leaves these white lines, and like where there's spaces, it doesn't. You can see where there's spaces, it leaves gaps. So I want to fix up little stuff like this. I just want to make sure here, do I even assign offset 0 size? I don't. ASCII min 33. This equals false. Yeah, no, it has no size. Okay. So I'm gonna set this manually here. So first of all, we're just gonna try doing 1. This is probably gonna break stuff massively and just fill everything with black, but I'm gonna try it. Oh, no, that didn't change anything. I know why as well, because this is the source select, or source scale, which is basically the scale of, it's like the rectangle it selects from the texture. It's not the actual draw size. I need to change the actual glyph size itself to do this. Reading on emu. Oh my god, I fucking hate the Windows multiple desktop. Holy shit, I just created a new desktop and it scared the fucking shit out of me, man. I sometimes forget that exists when I do that, and I'm just like, I just fucking closed everything. I just mass genocided the programs on my computer. Oh man, that close thing to give me a heart attack. Reading on emulating the NES, it's not as easy as people say. Yeah, I didn't think it was easy. So what I think I need to do here is the bm.scale is the actual scale. Let's see, offsets.aspect sets it to 1. We're gonna just try setting it to F scale. F scale by F scale. Boom, there we go. Actually, it looks like it's a bit big. Yeah, that is, that's pretty damn big. Okay, so that is not, maybe I'll just add padding. Because that is like massive. One letter is a giant block. Addressing modes, fetching mechanisms. I've got butterfingers today. I keep pressing incorrect keys and things. Like I think it's literally my arms are just tired. I was shoveling snow all morning. So this F scale, I do offsets.aspect times aspect. And then that's multiplied by F scale here. So maybe, what if I do bm.scale.x equals, is it actually F max F? I think it is. Yes, it is F max F. Okay. Thankfully, I found a really well commented example on how the 6502 works, but it's like over 3,000 lines. Man, 3,000 lines, that's like a Vulkan Hello World example, that's nothing. Kappa. Okay, so my idea here is I'm going to choose the same normal size as long as it's bigger than 0.1 times f scale. So what this will hopefully do is not be giant blocks, but still, no. Okay, so it's not giant blocks, but it's still leaving these empty gaps. Oh, wait, what about padding? What if I take padding into account? What if I do multiplied by padding? Multiplied by padding.x. I'm guessing that's what it is, the space from padding. Padding undeclared identifier. It's just a giant switch statement. The actual code is like 700 lines. Man, if it's a giant switch statement, that's probably really optimal. That's optimized to like a jump table. It's super optimized. Like it's more optimized than a function call. Here we go, pad x. I gotta stop typing so much since this doesn't even work. Oh yeah, that's a bit big. That's better, but it's... yeah. Oh, that's nearly perfect. It's just a bit too big. They do still call some really weirdly named functions that I need to check. Yeah, who knows what they're doing. So... is equal pad x. There we go, that's like perfect, I think. Oh, it still leaves little gaps where there's spaces, but that's great, that's fine. Okay, now I need to do the actual text selection properly. It's bugging the shit out of me that wherever I click doesn't match up. Either way, one tiny bug solved. Great GUI, by the way. It's pretty... Man, I had someone the other day telling me that C was outdated, and I was like, yeah it is, I'm not fucking arguing with you. And they just kept going on about it, and I'm like, man, this GUI is another great example. This has no distance field font rendering, it's just brute force. All the text is instant, so it's like, it's really fast, but it's super simple. And it is outdated, but it fucking works. That's what matters to me. That it works, and that when there's an issue like this, I can just go in and go, oh hey, the text selection is when it's creating these glyphs that it's rendering, and they're the wrong size, and I can just change the size to match the padding, and boom. Oh, I don't want to have, like, there are times when having it simple is the best thing. Okay, so right here is what's broken. Right here is what happens when you click and it calculates this cursor index, text input cursor. Oh my god. I wonder, so I have this GUI text size function that calculates text input cursor as well as the size of the actual font. The question here is this function broken or is it my mouse coordinates? If it's this function, this is gonna suck. But if it's the mouse coordinates, this will be easy to fix. Hope it's the mouse coordinates. C is not even outdated. It's like just understanding digital circuitry. Man, these people are also saying Java's outdated. The top two languages. And then look at it compared to the next. Literally like nearly twice the ratings of the ones below. Java and C are like fucking powerhouses. Well, they are powerhouses. Look at this beautiful C code here, base.base.base. This could actually be turned into a macro where I do like hierarchy base, and then it's like there's a macro for repeating 4 of them. I don't know. That would kind of make it more complicated in a way too. Java is a great UI system. Java is so easy to use. Alright, nmouse.x times aspect. I feel like I changed something with this mouse. Does it go from -1 to 1, or does it have aspect ratio applied? nmouse.x divided by width times 2 minus 1. Yep, okay, there's no aspect ratio applied there. Oh wait, this is 500 by 500. There is no difference in the aspect ratio. The emulator my friend wanted to use a table of function pointers. That ruins inlining, which is better. Yeah. It is, I guess functions are cleaner. But you can still call functions from switch statements. Indexing 2D arrays takes more time to go. Oh yeah, way more. This is mouse.x minus the position. So the Y seems correct here. What if the absolute scale.x is what's broken, or so this is actually the world space scale. Yeah, you know what? I think it's my GUI text size that's broken. Right here. I think there's something about this. Depends height of text block, outputs individual line widths. If cursor is not null, then cursor index of cursor position is stored in cursor. I'm patting my cat. That's why I'm leaning over. Why is this ASY times 2 minus? Okay, I'm going to make this a multi-line text field because I'm pretty sure there's going to be also issues with selecting multi-line text, so we're going to try that. We're going to just make this a big block text field. Oh, it's not working as multi-line. Ah. Oh, maybe I need to do based on multi-line as well. Yeah, I don't think it automatically sets multi-line. I should do that though, it's kind of stupid. Yeah, there we go, there's multi-line text. Oh my god, and what do you know, it actually works. Oh my god, the text selection is actually pretty accurate too. It's a lot more accurate than before. Oh my god, so this works with multi-line way better than it works. So interesting. Oh my god. Why? Why? So it's off a little bit. Can't select the last F here. It should select this right here. Okay, so there's definitely things I need to fix. I'm still not even sure that the mouse position is lining up. Like, it could just be the mouse position here is wrong. I need to really look into what this is doing. Okay. So cursor position. Yeah, okay. So this starts the text at 0, 0. So the top left of the text starts at 0, 0. The right side is at 1. So then right here, what I'm trying to do is convert the mouse position to a range where it's 0 to 1. Across the, yeah, basically convert to the text field space, but also have it go 0 to 1 instead of -1 to 1, because a lot of the stuff in this engine I have go from -1 to 1. Also, to make this easier, I'm going to set the text See how selection works, blah blah blah. Okay, so now this gives me text to easily work with. So there's a few things I want to do here. First of all, I need to make sure this is actually working from 0 to 1. It's really hard to tell, honestly, like this. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to output this to the console. So when I click it, it'll tell me where it is between 0 and 1, and then I can work out how wrong it is. So like the whole thing is, if I'm gonna fix this and make it select it from like the right here, I need to make sure it's even feeding in the correct coordinates. Okay, so here, top left, we can see top left actually goes to 0, 0. Okay, bottom actually goes to 0.796. It doesn't actually go all the way, it goes to 0.8. It doesn't go all the way to 0.1. So right away we know the Y is wrong. That could explain why it's hard to select stuff here. And yeah, you can kind of see this. So then going across the X is correct. It goes all the way across to 1 here. Okay, so we can see the Y selection is wrong. I kind of guessed this as well when I was looking at this, and I was like, what is it doing there? And this actually goes backwards as well, where positive Y is actually down. That's the other confusing thing about this, is I use different text coordinate system. Times 2 minus positional Y. Let me just try without this. So let me just, this does go 0 to 1, right? Plus F space is equal to width, and then width times 2 times aspect. Oh man, this might actually not be. I might actually feed out these text sizes. I'm not even sure. These are what I think they are. I'm going to output the character coordinates one by one. Oh, and if all this needs to do is find the cursor, then I can actually check here and bounce early if this is equal to no. click. Back here to drag, click me. Okay, here we go. This, starting at 0. So right here we've got this is a multi-line test. So the last T in test here, the X coordinate. Oh shit, I just clicked that multiple times, fuck. Just output a bunch to the console. Oops. Whatever. So each line ends at 0.764 because the container width is 0.8. You can see it ends at 0.764 because that's the limit of 0.8. But then that makes me think the container width is wrong. So then character space at negative. Wait, is it actually? Oh my god, it's doing negative characters. What? I gotta look at this. Where's the Y position as well? This. Multi-line test. See how selection works. So the W is actually right over to the side. Or the K, sorry. It's at 0.9. So wait, if the container size... I need to output this container width. So this should be absolute scale X. If phones are bad, technology bad. Not as simple as that yet, but people are searching for simple things that have far-reaching effects. Okay, so this completely threw me off. This is actually going negative as it goes down, which is the complete opposite of this Y position here. Oh, it's doing character new line. I'm an idiot. That's why it's in the negative. Anyways, let's see now. What is this container width? Container width 1. Adding text container width ASX. ASX isn't. Oh wait, actually this is correct. This is correct. So it's 0.5, which is then multiplied by 2. Oh my god, I'm a moron. Oops. Okay, so that is correct. Alright, I see how this works. It actually goes to the container width. It's not normalized or anything. Okay, so I see what I have to do now. I have to get this fed in mouse position to line up with so this should actually be negative. I should be subtracting from that. This 1 is correct. This X position is right. That X position right there is good. This might actually be subtract. I don't know. We're gonna see. Without doing that plus there, it becomes 3.5. That becomes negative. Now let's actually try subtract ASY. Negative 0.2, 3, negative 4, 6. I think this is actually correct. It's just showing, it's just wrong. So this is actually 4. Yep. So that is right. It's actually the GUI text size now that's wrong. So, you can see it's almost selecting the right characters. The X is just a oops, sorry. The X is just a tiny bit off. But the positioning is actually right now. At least I believe so. If we output these characters, I think we'll see. We clicked at 0.32 negative 0.184 on the H here. See how? So see how H is at 0.276 negative. So we got, oh, that's very close. So the 0.32 is a little bit ahead of the H. And the negative 0.184 is, yeah, that actually seems correct. But I think my issue now is just this actual function that gives you the cursor position. And then here I know if we're finding the cursor, or if all we're doing is finding the cursor, if L equals null, then we can just return actually no, we still can't, because we case it needs to find the text length. Okay. Let's look at this code. So first of all, we're going to get this X position. Since the Y position is screwed up right now, we're going to make the X position work perfect, and then we're going to move on to the Y. So here we can see it starts selecting the H a little bit shifted over. So I think I should see, so I apply some change to the cursor here. Cursor Y, I'm going to do the same thing to the cursor X, even if it's just a little shift. Even just add F space maybe. Just to give it a little bit of a bias. Oh, my cat wants something. I might get up in a second. Yeah, now that's a bit ahead. So if I actually do subtract by F space. Height times aspect. Ooh, that's actually really good. It's still a little bit ahead. Oh my god, that's actually nearly spot on. It's really hard to click spaces right here because they're so small. Very close. F space times 2. Actually, there's a bit of padding, isn't there? Where is this? I believe the X position does start off with a bit of padding. Do I add padding at the beginning? If anchor x equals 0. Oh, so it might be the anchoring and centering that breaks it. F scale times padding. I'm just going to try writing in what I currently have, negative scale times 2. And it could even be a little bit more, it could even be more ahead. Oh, so it's got some issues, like you can't select right. Yeah, so this is what I was talking about selecting at the end of the line here. There's a new line. I'll need to look into that. Either way, this is pretty good right now. really good, I think. The selection is like spot on. You can basically select everything you want. Now I just need to do the Y. So before here I flipped the Y, added padding. Oh, I don't. Got to add in the Y check here. So if the position is bigger than cursor position. Oh, I should check here as well when it does a new line. If the cursor position, or Y, is bigger than this next line and it hasn't found it yet, then this is where I'm gonna do that this is where I'm going to check to put it there. How am I going to do that though? Right here, if it does a new line. If find cursor. Position. Y bigger than, actually wait, cursor position dot Y is bigger than PC position dot Y. Let's see what that does. I think I might need to do smaller than instead of bigger than, but we'll see. And I might have to do it right here. Yes, there we go. Okay, there, boom, you can select the last character. Dude, this simple stuff like doing text selection in a GUI is so complicated. Like, this is math right here. Okay, I wouldn't say it's like complicated, but it's not simple. It's not simple. Alright. So now this checks if the line interesting how it selects this one here, but then it selects Oh, there we go. That's cool. Okay, so that's actually amazing. That is like, boom, fully functioning text selection right there. Okay. Well, no, it's not actually. This Y part is still broken. I just need to figure that out, but this should be pretty small. I don't even think I might need to modify the Y, just if. cursor position is bigger. Let's see how this works. I actually might need to keep assigning this as I go. Because technically it doesn't know where the last line is until it gets there. If I disable find cursor here, oh, I thought that would work. Actually broke it. Oh, okay. Position bigger. Maybe I have to do the same thing here. Minus equals. I'm gonna try actually F scale here instead of F space. That might have been the variable I'm looking for instead. Oh, that's a bit far over now. F scale is obviously bigger than F space. Anyways, gonna do the same thing with F space here. So this will only work, only return true. Text position is bigger than the cursor position. Oh man, yeah. I don't know how actually I'm going to do this. Besides if I just disable find cursor, and then I think that's going to have its own issues unless I check. Yeah, that's just going to return there each time. Yes, I need to check like if the text is somehow on the same line as the cursor, which, see, that's the thing, it's more like, it's not checking if it's on the line, it's checking which line is closest, because the lines might have padding in between. Hey, it stopped snowing outside. Yeah, I honestly can't think of any way without calculating the actual line position, so let's do this. F absolute. So calculate the difference between the cursor position and the Y position of the character, and then if that is smaller than the line size, which is font size times 1 divided by screen height, which is F scale. There we go. This is a bit unaligned, but it's actually working right now. So first of all, this was correct. Minus equals, I think that centers it. Oh, maybe I actually need plus equals. Okay, there we go. I think it's a bit small. You can see here where under the lines it actually doesn't select. Oh yeah, it's shifted up. So I might need the ×2. Maybe do it with F scale. Yeah, so I'm clicking like right there on the B and it's still selecting up there. Still not offset correctly. Try doing no offset. The issue is if I make it too big, make this F scale too big here, then it'll select characters it's not actually selecting. Oh, wait. I just did that and it works perfectly. Well, nearly perfectly. Okay, that actually looks correct. Alright. Boom. Wait. Boom, text selection. Okay, so part of this is still broken, the dragging. But this, boom, functioning text selection. Okay, this is a fucking weight off my brain. When I see stuff like this where all of a sudden there's like a major issue with the text, with how the text selection everything works and how it's even calculating the size of the text, I just go, holy shit, is there something seriously wrong? Now that I got this bug out of the way, whew, it's just a small simple bug. Alright, I will be right back, 1 second. Okay. Oh, I just had a look outside and there is a whole bunch of snow now. So I'm gonna fix this whole selection and then I'm probably gonna go and do that. So I need to fix this. Right here on the drag does something different. It's the Y right here. I need to change. There we go. So now that should fix the selection. Let me see if multi-line text input modified. I feel like this offset X right here is where the single line is going wrong. We will see. Alright, there we go. Multi-line text selection working perfectly. So where our issues actually came up was when we were doing single line here before. So we're gonna try that again right here. Let's see. We have fixed some of the issues. Yeah, so it's still misaligned right here. This is so interesting. So I don't think the text selection takes into account this offset X I added. I believe that's why it's still selecting back there. Okay, that's gonna be a whole thing. Alright, I just stood up and I didn't even get water while I was there, so I will be right back. I'm gonna get some water. I have a I know how to fix that offset selection. It's right here when it calculates the size. Where is it? Offset. It's right here. Where is it? It adds an offset. And then in the text size here, it doesn't add the offset. So that is the exact reason it's offsetted, is because in one function I'm adding an offset and one I'm not. So that's a pretty easy fix. What I don't know is why it's offsetting incorrectly at the beginning. Or if that even is incorrectly. I'm wondering if this is just like centering almost, like if I just did that because it's auto centers. Anyways, let me add this offset right here. And let me see how it applies this offset. Especially if it's multi-line here and it creates a new line. If multi-line bigger than position x equals base position dot x. Base position is that. Oh, okay, so I'm not taking the offset. How do I want to apply the offset to this? Okay, I want to do a few more tests actually. Wait, let me try centering this. Anchor center. Now, oh, this is exactly what I wanted to test. Okay, so this is broken. Okay. Oh my god, okay. So there's some stuff I gotta add in that takes into account anchoring. But anyways, I don't think this GUI size... Let me fix the current bug. I will work on that afterwards. But I'm pretty certain that this offset, if I added the offset to this GUI text size, it would break the purpose of this GUI text size, which is actually to calculate how big the block of text is. So I think what I need to do here is, when I'm calculating this, I need to go and take this offset, t-base offset.x, and subtract it like that. And then do the same with the y offset here. Yep, oh my god, that was it. So here, now the selection is perfect. It takes the offset into account. Super simple solution. Now I need to add that to both parts, both the click and drag right here. There we go. Alright, we fixed that bug. If I get all of the text selection, multi-line and everything working bug-free, I am going to be happy. Or in this stream, if I get it working bug-free, I'm going to be happy. There you go. May I ask, was the graphics API? I'm just using OpenGL 3.2. All of the GUI is rendered with a single shader. It's actually right down here. Blit shader. It just blits 2D elements with a tint. And it also does depth testing, clipping. It's simple but powerful. Alright, so I'm pretty sure, yeah, so the X of this centered is still working absolutely fine. Wait, actually, this anchor center is wrong. This isn't how centered is supposed to be. The blah blah blah. Oh, it's because it's a new line. Let me take out the new lines. Yeah, there we go. That's how centered is supposed to be. Okay, so the X is working. Actually, it's not. It's a bit offset. Okay, so I'm gonna need, I have a pretty good idea of what this is. Right here, where is it? Right here, it checks the anchor, calculate text line lengths for anchoring. It, actually that wasn't what I was looking for. Here, it offsets the X position based off the anchoring. This is exactly what I need to do for the cursor right here. Great, just started learning OpenGL. It's super good. Oh, this center is based off the line length. Oh, okay. I actually have a good idea. If it's not equals anchor top left, otherwise we'll do this. Oh, this is actually so difficult because I'm going to need to try this with all the different anchoring options. X, anchor Y. I'm doing this mumbling to myself. Checking if it's just anchor top left isn't the ideal way to do this. What I'm going to want to do is calculate the anchor X and Y individually with this macro. Oh, and this has no access to the anchor. Okay. So actually, this can't even take anchoring into account. I need to do the anchoring. I'm not sure what's even incorrect here. The X is working, it's the Y that's wrong. And it's definitely this right here, this anchor offset. Yeah, as it goes up here, it gets correct. Now, how do I take that into account? And the whole thing is misaligned. I can't even select right here for some reason. I actually don't see a way to solve this, because if this function doesn't have the text position when it's centered, then I don't see how it's going to get it unless you calculate the text centering. I guess I could calculate the text centering before doing this. Calculate where the line begins here. Or I could literally just leave this as a bug where centered text areas don't function properly for selection. Because honestly, that's not that big a bug. Like, this whole thing is kind of shoddy. It has some issues. I'm honestly thinking of just leaving it like this, because just the basic text field is all I need. And like, if there's the issues there with centering, I don't see how I'm gonna fix it with all the other modes. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. And then I'm not going to do a blinking cursor either. I'm not planning to make like a whole code editor or like a whole text editor in this. If I need actual robust text editing features, like, I don't think that's what this GUI is for. There's so many shoddy things in this GUI that would make it bad for that. I'm going to take out the blinking cursor. Because it's like, it's a whole bunch of code that doesn't even work that I would have to spend on fixing. When it's like Imagine writing 100 lines of code just to make a cursor blink. Alright, now it's exactly the same, the cursor doesn't blink, and we've saved a bunch of lines of code. Alright, I'm gonna put a note in the README. I don't know where I'm gonna put it. Have issues. Multi-line selection doesn't work properly with any anchoring except top. Properly, unless anchoring is top left, top or top right. Oh yeah, and then I need to change the synchronize on the editing to a spin lock. Copy this code. I just need to make sure this isn't used anywhere else. I think it's used right here. Yep, right here. Damn, there are lots of text instructions. I forgot I implemented all these. Copy, paste. Okay, and then this code actually has a copy in the editor. Right here. I have to copy and paste all of this. multi-threaded text editing. I don't know how to make this bug out, but I can try. I think it's all good. Oh my god, so that feels real good, going and fixing a bunch of issues that exist with this text editor in my engine. Even if it's not perfect, it's a million times better. The selection works properly. Basically all I need is this simple functioning text input so that I can input things. Like I can worry about padding and making this pretty later. Oh yeah, so one of the other things, one thing I can do while I'm doing this is I only need to check this Y position if it's multi-line. So if multi-line, then the F scale is like this. Otherwise, the F scale is going to be giant and it can select anyone, anywhere. So that way, there's no selection problems with these single lines. There we go. Alright, I gotta go shovel some snow. I think I'll be back in like an hour. I still have some stuff that I want to work on. I kind of want to dive straight into, I think that'll be good for this GUI example. But there's some other stuff I want to dive into, like a physics example, and then maybe a little Pong example. We'll see. Either way, I think this was actually a really productive stream. I set out to just make this GUI example, and I ended up running into bugs, which is never unexpected. But over these 2 hours, we went and we just eliminated all of these bugs, and now our text editor is functioning. I'm very happy about that. Thank you for anyone who watched. I'll be back again later today or tomorrow. I'm not sure. I gotta be honest, I've been trying to do a stream schedule and it's just hard as shit. Like, I'd never expected it would be that hard to sit in front of the computer and do something for 10 hours a day, but here we are. So I'm gonna try and make that work, but we'll see. I think what's going to end up happening is I'm just going to do a whole bunch of 2 or 3 hour streams across the day. Anyways, see you around. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in any of this C programming or engine development, I will be working on this stuff for a while. So if you like it, stick around.